Hello everybody, and welcome to Fortuna Admissions video blog. My name is Caroline Diarte Edwards. I'm a director at Fortuna, and I'm joined today by my colleague Willie Kotas. Willie is a graduate of the Kellogg School of Management. He holds an MBA. He was an alumni interviewer for an impressive 23 years and also worked as a director at the school as country manager for Brazil. So Willie, we want to talk today about your experience as an alumni interviewer. You must have interviewed many candidates over those 23 years. So first of all, could you explain a bit about the interview process? What is the role of the alumni interviewer in the admissions process and the evaluation process? And then, what is it that you're looking for in a candidate?
I'll explain it from the Kellogg viewpoint. And Kellogg really, as far as I know, was the first school to interview or attempt to interview every single person that applied to the school. So in order to carry that out, a decision was made decades ago to offer this role to alumni all around the world. So I initially signed up when I was working in Peru. We were all alumni of the school who, I would say to a man or a woman, had a very positive experience, and we consider ourselves to be ambassadors for the school, and we enjoy representing the school to the public. So the interview really, the format has not really changed. It's always been quite informal, and that I think every alum carries it out differently, where we are notified in advance. At the same time, the candidate is notified and asked to contact us. And in my case, I usually would set up the interview either at the office, or in Brazil, generally I would do them at a local pub, which and the reason being, I learned over the years that candidates take the interviews and put way too much stress on their shoulders. They think that this is a make or break time for them, where actually I think it's just one element in the whole process. So we're asked to qualify the candidates against the other ones that we've interviewed. So basically a rating system with different columns, asking about intellectual ability, career progression. We used to be asked to grade them on sense of humor, but for some reason that was dropped, which I'm very happy about that, because I didn't know if I was supposed to tell them a joke and grade them according to how long they laughed, or I was supposed to ask them to tell me a joke. But it's really a conversation that I can tell you in my case, if it's not going well, it might last half an hour, but generally it'll be at least an hour. I think the record was I spent 3.5 hours talking to a candidate who later ended up going to Harvard, and I was very heartbroken by that. But it's really a chance for us to get really, I think the main thing we're doing is screening out people that aren't going to fit well with Kellogg. I give a thumbs up to probably 80 or 90% of the people I interview. It's only occasionally we think this person is possibly too arrogant, or might not have the skills to really fit in at Kellogg. So I think of the alumni interviewer being more of a cultural fit filter than anything else. And it's nice that oftentimes the people keep in contact. And once again, I think it's important to keep in contact with your alumni interviewer afterwards, not because they're going to influence the admissions decision, but because there's someone you've spent time getting to know that's rooting for you to get in. And no matter if you do or not, keep in contact with that person, because they could be a valuable contact in your career afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So do you have any advice for candidates who are preparing for an alumni interview? What should they do in advance to be ready?
I think a lot of this is probably the same thing I would do if I were preparing for a job interview, and that's try to know as much, if not more, about the school than the alumni does, without without droning on too long about the history, how the school was founded in the 1900s and blah, blah, blah. But it'll impress them that you've taken the time. Also, do a little bit of research on the person without, stalking them to the supermarket or looking through their garbage. But you want to know what you want to go with some questions that might start the interview off well, about asking them some questions about their career. So you demonstrate interest both in the school and the alumni interview.
Yeah. Okay. And what are the pitfalls to avoid in that discussion?
I think being too rehearsed. I think it's always good to come prepared with the point, having the points in your head that you want to hammer home in the interview. Maybe some stories that you're going to anticipate some of the questions, like tell me about yourself, walk me through your resume. The only thing the interviewer will have is your resume. He or she won't have your essays, won't have your letters of recommendation, your application. They just have your resume. So be prepared to explain everything on your resume.
Yeah.
And other than that, just relax and be yourself, be authentic. Don't tell us what you think we want to hear. Tell us the truth. Go much smoother that way.
Yeah. And then when your report goes back to Kellogg, what role does that report play in the evaluation process by the admissions committee?
Not nearly as much as I wish it did. There have been so many times that I thought a candidate was sensational and would make a fantastic student and alum, and they've been denied. So no one has ever, I've never actually asked, but I've always looked at the alumni interview as being maybe 5 or 10% of the whole decision. And I think unless we make a really strong case, pro or con, it'll always be that way.
Yeah. Okay, great.
So relax, people. Don't think you have to name your kids after us as alumni after you've had an alumni interview. We haven't probably shaped your future that much. Just take it as a chance to get to know someone from the school really well and have a friend in contact.
Yeah, and I think it's a great point that you made that, follow up after the interview and send them a thank you and keep them posted. Those little attentions to detail can really help and make a good impression.
I totally agree.
All right. Thank you so much, Willie, for sharing your thoughts and your wonderful history and experience as an alumni interviewer. Thank you to our audience for joining us today. If you'd like to discuss your candidacy for business school, please do contact us. You can reach us on our website, www.fortunaadmissions.com. Thank you very much.